Dear students, welcome again to the course of leadership. I'm your course instructor Shehzad Khan Durrani, lecturer, Institute of Business Studies, Kohat University of Science and Technology, Hangu campus. In today's lecture, we will discuss skills-based model of leadership and its components. In our previous lecture, we discussed skills approaches of leadership. And we talked about human skills, conceptual skills, and technical skills. So we made a background to understand the skills-based model of leadership and its components. Now we are able to understand skills-based model of leadership and its components. So let's start. So our outline, it includes skills-based model of leadership, we will talk about it, and then we will talk about components of skills model, and they are individual attributes, what are some of the individual characteristics, the competencies that they have, and the leadership outcome, right? So this is overall skills-based model of leadership and its components, right? So let's start. Of the skills-based model of leadership. Skills-based model of leadership, right? Uh, Mumford, Zaccarco, Harding, Jacobs, in 2000, they worked on it, the skills-based model of leadership. So according to their research studies in 1990s, skills-based model of leadership is about to identify the leadership factors. What are some of the leadership factors that create exemplary job performance, right? That they are actually or mainly responsible for the job performance in an organization. So the emphasis here is on the abilities or the capabilities that can make effective leadership possible. Through that abilities or capabilities, you can call one person or a person a leader, an effective leader, rather than what leaders do. So it's more than the abilities that you possess, rather than what you are doing, right? So capability model, like this skills-based model, or you can also call it the capability model, examines relationship between a leader's knowledge, the knowledge that you possess, the leader possess, and skills, the competencies, and the leader's performance, right? And its effect, the knowledge and the skills, how well the leader is utilizing or using that skills and the knowledge so that he is actually getting more outcome out of it, right? So that's called the leader's performance. So suggests many people have the potential for leaders. So this theory, this model actually suggests that many people have the potential of leader or to become a leader. Of the skills-based model of leadership. Now we will come to the components of skill. There are three components of the skill model. The first one, individual attributes, right? So it includes general cognitive ability. We will discuss this in detail. Then crystallized cognitive ability we have. And then we have the motivation and personality, right? The attributes. And then in the competencies, the first one is the problem solving skills, social judgment skills, and knowledge. The third one, which is the component of the skill model, is the leadership outcome. And the first one is the effective problem solving. The second one is the performance. So we will discuss each one of them in detail now. So the first component in the skills-based model of leadership is the individual attributes, right? And it means general cognitive ability, right? General cognitive ability is actually person's intelligence, the intelligence that you possess, right? And it includes perceptual processing, right? How you are perceiving things and how you are processing it, the information processing, the information you are getting it, right? And the way you are processing the information, right? The way you are trying to utilize that information more effectively. And general reasoning, your general reasoning ability that you possess, creative and divergent thinking, right? Your creative thinking or your creative abilities that you possess. Memory, of course, the way you can memorize different kinds of things. So these all elements are called the person's intelligent, right? And that actually means general cognitive. The next one, in the individual attributes, we have the crystallized cognitive ability. So we have the general cognitive ability and we have the crystallized cognitive ability. What does it mean? The intellectual ability learned or acquired over time. So you are learning it with time, right? You are developing it with the passage of time. This is actually based on your learned skills, on the experience that you have. The next individual attribute is the motivation that you have, right? So there are actually three aspects of motivation: your willingness to do a certain job. If you are willing, so your individual attributes actually depends on your willingness, right? And the next one, your dominance, right? For example, if you have a dominant position, you have a power, you have the authority, right? So then actually it depends on that. Your individual attributes depends on that. And then the social good, for example, right? Do you have, like, for example, certain social activities that you are doing, or you are involved in certain social goods? So your individual attributes will be according to that, your struggle will be according to that, right? The next one in the individual attributes is the personality. Personality includes characteristics that help people cope with complex organizational situations. Sometimes the organization is facing the situation that is of complex nature, right? So how you can deal with such kind of situations, right? It depends on your traits of the personality, right? Or the attributes that you possess. And it is probably related to leader performance, right? So personality is actually related to your performance, right? If you have a very good personality, if you possess certain traits and qualities of leadership, so it automatically leads to a high performance, or you can have positive outcomes. So the big five model of personality, the first one is the extraversion or positive affectivity. What does it mean? It means the tendency to experience positive emotional states and feel good about oneself and the world around you. It means that you have some positive emotional states, you have some positive energy that you are carrying with yourself, and you are providing that energy to others as well, right? The next one is the neuroticism or negative affectivity, and it means the tendency to experience negative emotional states, right? And feel bad about oneself and the world around you, right? So it means the negative emotional states, right? Then you are thinking negatively, or you have some negative feelings about yourself and others, right? So such kind of personality is negative in nature, and it's the opposite of the extroversion or the positive affectivity. Next characteristic in the personality trait is agreeableness, right? It means the tendency to get along well with others. You have the ability, you have the tendency, you have the capability to get along well with others. Who are others? With different teams, with different groups, with people who have different backgrounds, right? And is of diverse nature, right? So that's called the agreeableness. The next one is the conscientiousness, and it means the extent to which a person is careful, right?
scrupulous and perseverance, right? He's careful, he's determinant, right? So such kind of personality trait is called the conscientiousness. And the last trait is called the openness to experience, right? The extent to which a person is original of nature, has broad interest, has a broad vision and interest, and is willing to take risks, and the person can take risk as well, right? So in the individual attributes, we discussed four characteristics or traits or attributes: the general cognitive ability, then we talked about the crystallized cognitive ability, motivation, and at the end we talked about personality and its five traits. The next one is the competencies. Competencies include problem solving, right? You must have the competencies to solve various problems in an effective way. What does it mean? It means the creative ability to solve new and unusual problems, ill-defined organizational problems, right? So you will face various kinds of problems in the organization. Some of them can be new and unusual and of ill-defined nature. So how you can solve them, it depends on your competencies and the skills that you possess. The next one is the social judgment, right? You must have the competencies and the abilities of the social judgment. And what does it mean? It means that the capacity to understand people of different backgrounds, people that they belong to different cultures and social systems, and you must understand this that people belong to a system, and that system is called social system, and that system actually depends on their way of living, their lifestyles, right? And it can be different, and it includes the social judgment, the perspective taking, right? People have different perspectives about a certain thing, right? People are not thinking the same because they belong to different cultures, different backgrounds, right? The next one is the social perspectiveness, right? So their social perspective is different, right? Their personal or individual perspective is different. They are taking it differently, and it's just because their social perspective is different. Next one, in the social judgment competency, we have the behavioral flexibility. Your behavior is flexible. You are trying to accept people of different attitude and behavior, and their behavior is actually acceptable to you. And your social performance. What is your performance in different social systems? And the third one is the knowledge. So the accumulation of information, right? So your knowledge is actually based on the information that you collected, the data that you have, the information that you accumulated. So the mental structure to organize the information, then it depends on your mental structure, that how you can organize the information, how you can utilize the information, how you can organize it in terms of its importance and effectiveness, which one is more important, which one is the least important one. And then we have the leadership outcomes. The first one is the problem solving, right? So the leadership outcome is the problem solving skills, right? So it actually develops your problem solving skills, your competencies, and your individual attributes leads to problem solving. And it has a certain criteria, right, for the problem solving. So it means that originality, your problem solving ability must show originality and quality of solutions to problem situations, right? And you are coming up with solutions that are logical in nature, that are original, and they are qualitative in nature. So it means that good problem solving involves creating solutions that are logical and effective and unique in nature, right? So you must take some steps that they are of unique nature, right? You must come up with some innovative ideas, it means. and go beyond given information. So you are not relying on the like for example the limited amount of information that you receive, right? You are going beyond the given information. You must have the ability to analyze the data. You must have the ability to analyze the situation by your own. And the last one in the leadership outcomes is the performance. You must have a really good performance or a successful performance, and it means the degree to which a leader has successfully performed his or her assigned duties. So if the leader perform his duties well, it means that he has achieved his targets, and it will lead to a positive outcome, which means performance, right? Now we talked about the three components of the skill based model. Now I will explain it or review it or summarize it here again. So we have three components of the skill model. They are: the first component we have is the individual attribute, the second one is the competencies, the third one is the leadership outcomes, right? In the individual attributes we have the general cognitive ability. That means the intelligence that you possess, crystallized cognitive ability, and it means the ability that you learned or you developed with time, motivation that you have, your willingness, the work that you are doing for the social good, and then of course the personality traits, the characteristics. We talked about the big five traits as well here. Then we talked about the competencies here. You must have problem solving skills, the social judgment skills, and the knowledge that you possess, how you will behave in different cultures, how you can come up, for example, with different solutions if the situation is complex, right? And then we have the outcomes here. The outcome, of course, is the effective problem solving skills well developed, and then the performance, right? So it means if you have the individual attributes, this will lead to a leadership outcome, which is the problem solving, right? So they are related to each other, right? And then for example, for this you need some competencies. And all of these, for example, also depends on the environment that you are living in. So it depends on the environment. It depends on the environment that you are living in, for example. And environment is of two kinds: external environment and internal environment. Internal environment is like the organizational own environment, the workplace. So you are facing different challenges, for example different kinds of conflicts, etc. And then the external environment is not in your control, for example political, demographical, or maybe for example different climate changes that can occur, that can also affect your performance and performance of the organization, right? So today we talked about the skills based model of leadership and its component. I hope you all understand this. Thank you.
These are the references that I used while making my slides. Thank you.